All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Orange Crush podcast. And for the second year in a row, after week one, we welcome on the director of broadcasting for Clemson Athletics. You know the guy, you love the guy. It's Don Munson on the play-by-play call for Clemson. Don, welcome to the show for the second straight season. How you doing, man?
Yeah, wait a minute. I'm on after 2 straight losses to open the year? Come on, we got to schedule this better. You're killing me, Grayson.
I can't do much about the schedule results, but we just wanted to get you on, get some extra thoughts on LSU. So I guess we'll just start there. Take us through sort of your thoughts on the immediate aftermath from Saturday night. Clemson 17-10 lost to LSU. You're right there on the call. See a lot. You have a lot of information beforehand, but after Saturday, what was just sort of the immediate feeling?
Well, certainly disappointment for how the second half went. The first half, I thought, you're leading at 10-3. It's kind of a rarity that Clemson loses a game when they're leading at halftime, particularly under Coach Swinney. So it was a little bit surprising to see what happened in the second half. And I think that everything turned. Clemson gets that opening kickoff. The second half is driving. Penalty kind of forces them back, and all of a sudden they have to settle for a 48-yard field goal, and it's just missed wide right. And then to see LSU then take the ball over and just drive it, and I mean drive it, down the field to tie it up at 10. Then you head off to the fourth quarter. It's still a 10-10 game. I think you're feeling fairly good about things. Clemson defensively is getting some stops, but LSU was able to put that one drive together, and I thought it was a brilliant play call there deep. You could see that they sent out Green wide left, and all of a sudden you looked across, and he was going man-to-man against Avion, and you knew that was going to be trouble. I mean, that was going to be 6'7" against 5'10", 5'11", and Avion was going to have to figure out a way to somehow slip in front of him as the ball was coming, and Green used that big body basically just to block him out. He's a converted basketball player, so you can understand why he would know that kind of stuff. But, man, he used his body well, snagged it, and it ended up to be the difference.
On our Slack channel just after that happened, Brandon Rink of TigerNet, he posted that was 6'7" against 5'10" on a good day. Not a great matchup. But and I wrote a couple of times in a couple of different articles, Joe Sloan, the LSU offensive coordinator, Clemson and Tom Allin kind of made adjustments late in the first quarter. Second quarter began to really shut down that LSU running game. LSU came out with their adjustments in the second half, said, you know what, we now know we can't run it straight at them, and it became the quick game. And I thought that part of the game, Joe Sloan and his offensive play calling, Tom Allin with his adjustments, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, particularly on that winning drive for them when they kept splitting out 2 tight ends and then the running back to the left, and they ran that play, 3 times in a row? And it was picking up 7 and 8 and 6, so it was steadily moving the ball downfield. And, it was a great – they found something that worked. And, give them credit for that. They found something that worked. There's always going to be overreaction. There's going to be overreaction on both sides, I think. There's overreaction to the LSU win. There's overreaction to the Clemson loss. That's just the way we are. All right? It is a long season. But this is an important week for Clemson. They need to bounce back. They need to come back and get some things going because because the following week at Georgia Tech, even though you can't look past Troy, but we're all human. We all know what's in our minds. That following week for a noon game in Atlanta, certainly right now looms as huge for Clemson.
Yeah, especially within the ACC race where you follow 1 and 2. Not only are you a leg behind in the at-large, for sure, you're a leg behind to a really good ACC team with a favorable schedule the rest of the way there with Brent Key. But, Don, you look at this team, I think the big storyline from LSU and what has to change heading into Troy is this offense. An offense that really just wasn't able to find its footing consistently. Cade Klubnik, one of his rather worst performances is recent memory. And he said it himself today that he's got to be better. And there were some times when he watched the film and he's asked himself, what am I doing here? Well, what's going on? That's never something that I used to do. In your evaluation and just what you've heard this week from the team, how do you feel like the offense and maybe what is in your mind priority number one when they stepped on the field against Troy and say, I want to see this get better?
Well, I can tell you for fact the offense was challenged, and not just the players, the coaches themselves were challenged by the head man. So That's not a shock. I think that we all probably knew that was going to happen. So, but so far, being over at practice and I think the response has been really good. I will tell you that. I think the response has been really good. I wouldn't say that there's more focus on what they're doing, because they were focused, believe me, all through August camp and going into the week of prep for LSU. This was a very focused team, and for whatever reason, it just didn't come together against LSU. Now you need to make sure that just doesn't happen again. So it'll early on Saturday, I think, will tell us a little bit of the story. If Clemson continues to struggle offensively and does not get things going, if it's like 2011 and Troy is up 6 at halftime, those fans are going to boo Clemson again as they go off the field. It happened in 2011, Chad Morris's first year. Believe me, that's going to happen again. Now, the great thing in 2011, Clemson came back, had a huge second half to take care of Troy. But you need to, I think that early on, I think that first quarter becomes big for Clemson. They need to go out, move the football, get points on the board, and establish themselves offensively. And then people, offense. But you know what? The defense has to come back and back up what they showed in game one. They need to do it again. It's one thing to do it once. It's a habit when you do it again and again and again. That's where this defense needs to get. At times under Wes Goodwin, we would see outings like that. But it was just the consistency, the repetition of it. That is what I hope that Tom Allin brings defensively to Clemson, is that we see it again and again and again. And it's not just here and there thing.
The reason that I grinned so big when you said that, this offense had been challenged by the head man, I got a text message from a former player yesterday afternoon who should know better. And he said, was Coach Swinney being flippant in some of his comments yesterday?
No.
And I responded and I said, I think you know him well enough, and I know to read the body language. He was about this close to being extremely pissed off and showing it. Like, I've seen that before. I know what that looks like, and I can only imagine what Saturday night and Sunday were like for those coaches.
Saturday and Sunday, from what I heard, weren't as bad, and I've had the privilege of being in those meetings when I used to work for Coach, and we get to sit in on those meetings. But I can tell you, Monday's team meeting was long. All right, it was a long team meeting on Monday. So I think that's where it was really stamped, and then to be at Monday night's practice and watch them go out and respond to that, because you have to come out and respond, and they did, and they did it again yesterday as well. So I think that's a good. There's leadership is not a problem with this ball club. I mean, the people that are the kids themselves, the coaches, staff, that kind of stuff. Leadership is not a problem. Everybody knows how to own it. And I love what Cade said today, as a matter of fact, at the press conference. The fact that he said it after Saturday's game. He took up there and owned it. That's what you need your quarterback to do. Sometimes he needs to take pressure off of other people just because he's the quarterback, and because he is kind of the face of the program. Deserved or not, he has to do it, and he knows that.
He's been pretty candid about it, and
yeah.
I think Wednesday was one of his you got to take it on the chin strap, especially when Sweeney's publicly saying that Cade's got to be better. And I think that's probably in part to the frustration of, I think Clemson fans have seen it. They saw it against Texas. They've seen those moments against SMU. You've seen those 2 touchdowns against South Carolina where he's able to make big plays when the moment calls for it, but it's not kind of coming together at the right time. For Klubnik, just in what you kind of seen done, it's really fascinating as well on Monday it's unique for you because you get that first in-person look. We talked to Coach Swinney on Sunday, but it's on this teleconference. We won't get to read body language. I guess for Monday night with your coach's show with him, just what was that kind of like with him? Just the body language and just trying to move forward and get this win on Saturday.
Oh, he's great at putting things behind him fairly quick because, he says it doesn't matter. What happened yesterday doesn't matter. It's how you respond. It's how you approach today. And it is about today. It's not about yesterday. It's not about tomorrow. It's about today. And that was one of the things that I learned under him, back in 2010 when I went to work from him. And I still learn to this day, even as a 63-year-old guy sitting across the table from him on a Monday night radio show, you still learn some things about the guy and about the way that he runs this program and goes about doing it. And, it's one of the reasons that that I respect him so much.
Before we get back to this video, we'd like to thank the title sponsor for this podcast, Newton, Scott and Associates. This team is headlined by Jeff Scott, former Clemson assistant coach and two-time national champion, as well as Eric Newton, a longtime local and trusted real estate partner. These two are teaming up to provide a first-class experience for all Clemson fans. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or build in the upstate area of South Carolina, you can trust Newton, Scott and Associates. Choose the same team that Clemson coaches are selecting when they're looking to buy, sell, or build, all the way from Tigertown to Lake Keowee. For more information, you can find them at newtonscottsc.com or by calling the number 864-722-9062. That's 864-722-9062. Now, let's get back to the video.
And kind of taking a look at this, it's funny to me. It always is kind of funny to me. And that fans are still trying to recover from LSU. They're still talking about it. They're angry, and it's always easier for these players and the coaches to move on and to flush it and to say, hey, we're moving on to Troy. I think that is probably a blessing for them. Olson Pat Henry, the tight end who had a big catch Saturday, he told us, he was like, yeah, I went to bed Saturday night and it was over. And then it's on to Troy. And that is a very good focus to have. And I think that comes from Coach Swinney, that kind of windshield mentality of always looking ahead and not looking back so much. There will obviously be corrections. There will be things that are changed. But it's a team that is fully focused on the Troy Trojans right now.
Oh, there's no doubt, David. I mean, as well as I do, the fan base will still be talking about this one 5 years from now. All right? I mean, they will. They'll still be pissed 5 years from now over this thing, no matter what happens. No matter what happens in this game. So I mean, I still have people that walk up to me that are still pissed about the Syracuse game, and we won it all. It didn't matter. We ended up winning it all, so it didn't matter. But that's us as human beings. That's us as flesh and blood. That's just who we are. But it's important. They'll be, and the players and the coaching staff, believe me, they will still feel this until the kickoff happens on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. It's staying with them all week, but it's a driving factor for them. It's not going to be a hindrance. It's going to help them. And I think that's one of the things that we have seen with Coach and his staff through the years, when they have dropped a game, that they have generally come back and really have come back strong on the other side of a defeat. What Clemson is, what are they, 37-10 now, I think, under Coach Swinney after a loss. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good when you have lost 47 times and you come back and you win. That's very rare that you're losing back to back. And so generally they're very good at doing this, and they have an opportunity to make it 38.
And we all remember last year against Appalachian State, that first drive was sort of that, everyone's talking about the offense, and then lo and behold, Brian Wesco is the one with the ball in the end zone. You talked something that really struck with me in the early minutes, Don, was the overreaction on both sides. And one of the prevailing conversations has been about whether this game showed if Clemson's truly one of those elite contenders for this year, whether they're just maybe a tier below the teams that maybe people expect to be in the semifinal run. Does Clemson absolutely have a shot to redeem that kind of the sins with the games like Florida State, who looks pretty good, Georgia Tech, really good team, South Carolina, going to be a factor at the end of the year? Just where do you kind of see this team in terms of the playoff? It's week one, so I know this maybe the playoff race sounds ridiculous, but in terms of that national conversation surrounding Clemson, just where does your kind of mind fall on it?
Oh, absolutely. They have a chance to redeem themselves. And, Grayson, what was the first thing that we found out about the 12-team playoff last year? It wasn't one of the top 4 seeds that won it all. All right. It was a team that actually had to play first, a team that was hosting Tennessee in their own building, and 30,000 Vol fans showed up to that stadium, almost took over that stadium, a team that a lot of people were picking to lose to Tennessee because of the way that they had come off a game against Michigan, and they won it all. That's the beauty of now an extended playoff, is that you get a chance to get yourself right. Usually it's at home. All right. Usually you're going to get a chance to get yourself right at home. And then if you can do that, carry that momentum forward. So I think that's the beauty of what we have in a 12-team playoff. Oh, by the way, it's going to 16 and it's going to 24 eventually. It's getting to 24 teams eventually. So
even beyond that, probably
that's
too.
coming. If you don't think that that's coming, then you're just being blind to the fact.
Well, I will go a little bit. Let's go a little bit shorter term here. Obviously my phone has been blowing up, and I love the fact that I have a relationship with football people. And, we've obviously been discussing what would a game plan look like for you this week. And there are people who are saying, come out and run it 55 times, or, it has to be this and this. And I go, to me, it's just about fixing the ills on the offense. If that means it's 50-50 passing and rushing, so be it. You kind of take what the defense gives you there. You go out and you just get continuity and confidence. And I think that's probably the biggest thing heading into this weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't care what the game plan is, as long as it's a winning game plan. I don't care. I mean, I really don't. And you always be 1 point better. And I understand people will not be happy with a 30-29 win over Troy. I understand that. But it doesn't matter. It's a W. And you move, you have success. You got success, and you move forward onto the next game. That was the beauty of the 16 team, was how many close games they played that season, and were able to continually just kind of move forward. Even when they did lose, they were able to move forward even off of a loss. I never will forget walking out of that stadium after that Syracuse game, and everybody's head is down. By the time we got to midnight, nothing had changed, because everybody else in the country had lost as well. So nothing had really changed from that standpoint. You can't control what others are going to do. All you can do is control what you can do. And so they need to go out, figure out a way to win. Would it be nice to win by 20 or more? Absolutely. It would be nice to win by 20 or more. But right now, just give me a W. Let's get to 1-1, and then we'll worry about getting to 2-1.
If memory serves me correctly, I believe they played Troy pretty closely in that 2016 year. Is that?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was what, a 7.6-point game, 7.8-point game, something like that. Yeah,
it was 13-10 at the half, and everybody.
I think it was 30-23 was the final. Is that right? I have to go back and look at the notes, but I think it was something along those lines. And so, then again, that was a team early on that people thought, all right, had a chance to compete for a national championship. Having just played for one the year before, people really had not completely jumped on the Clemson bandwagon as of yet. But little did we know that we were headed for Alabama 2 to then be followed by Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. So we just didn't know that at the time. But it'll be interesting to see, is this LSU 1?
Yeah, it was 30-24 in that game, and
yeah. Is there an LSU 2 that's in our? There is next year. We're going to have LSU 2, next year, and it's going to flip, because I mean, you know as well as I do, looking ahead at next year, all the talk is going to be Clemson's lost 4 of their last 5 opening games, and have not scored hardly at all in those games. So that's where that's that's going to be the talk. Mark it down right now. That's going to be the talk going when we go to Baton Rouge next year.
Man, Baton Rouge, that'll be exciting. David, do you have any final questions for Don before we wrap this up?
No, I just think it's good for everybody to kind of have a couple of days to kind of sit on it and think about it. And I was really, not shocked at all by the way the players responded to our questions today. I think you were in there, Don. And I threw a couple of tough questions at Kay Klubnik. I really did. What were you thinking there? What were you seeing? Love his body language. Love the way he answered those questions and kind of owned it. And I go back to, some games that we've had before where Kay Klubnik against Tennessee came out, or against Miami came out, was the only really offensive player that came out down at Miami after that loss and talked to us. He's always owned up to it. And just for his sake, I hope he responds this week. And I think he will.
I don't think there's any doubt. What I think that these moments do for Cade is that they give him even a bigger voice inside the team, where his leadership has to step forward even more so. I mean, I think that we forget Cade's 22,
right.
I can remember, I'm 63 now, but I can remember when I was 22, and I didn't certainly have a football team resting on my shoulders at the age of at the age of 22 and a fan base that was interested in every little thing that I did and either did it right or did it wrong. But I think this is an opportunity for him to increase his voice on the team, a team for him to increase his presence even more, and to bounce back and play well. And if he doesn't play well, I'll be really shocked. I really will. I think that Klubnik is to that point now in his career where I expect him to come back, play big, and play really big, as a matter of fact.
We'll find out Saturday at 3:30 back in the Valley. Excited. If you guys are traveling to the game, be sure to be safe and take care. We want to thank Newton Scott and Associates and Chick-fil-A for powering us through the 2025 season. Guys, thank you all as always. Subscribe for more. Make sure to give Don some love as well. You see him on game day. Guys, take care. Have a good one.